Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in to the Raise Your Own Bar podcast. My name is Tamara Bucky, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing someone I used to work with, Miss DeOnah Norfleet. She's an accounting manager at BDO. She also is a serial entrepreneur running two businesses. She has Pretty Decor, which is an event company that decorates for fun parties and things. And then she also has her coaching services with her business called Financial Therapy with Coach D. Welcome, DeOnah. How are you?
I'm doing great, Tamir. It's good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to see you. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Of course.
So, where to begin? How do you juggle all the things? Let's start with that. All of the different hats that you wear, how do you keep them straight?
I am a woman of many hats. I ask myself that all the time, actually. Sometimes I think it's surprises myself that I hold different roles, working full time and having the two businesses. It does take a lot of planning and organizing so that I'm dedicating, enough time to each area. And of course, my 8 to 5 rather, and then working, late nights, early mornings sometimes. But it can be a challenge. But I will say it didn't start all at once. So like I was able to, once I started Pretty Decor, I had that going for, I want to say a year and a half or so, or probably almost 2 years now before I launched Financial Therapy with Coach D. So I was able to kind of juggle having my job full time as well as being an entrepreneur. And then adding that on, I definitely had to buckle down with like getting organized and setting, a set amount of time for each one so that I'm able to still market, both and put 100% into both.
Yeah, that makes sense. Got to stay organized if you're going to be able to juggle all those different things.
Exactly. I might have multiple planners, so it keeps me on track. And I try to color code so that I know if I have an upcoming event or if I have a coaching session, just laying it all out. It eases my mind when it's a little bit more organized. I'm not frantically panicking.
Definitely, definitely. I know, and there's so many different ways you can organize information now. I tend to go with Google Calendars because it's nice that they consolidate them into one place when you have so many different emails. Like if you're running multiple businesses, I'm sure you have multiple emails you have to keep up with, which can be a pain.
Yes, absolutely. I use Google Calendar, and then I have a physical planner that I like to write in as well.
I have a tendency to lose notebooks, so that's been a challenge for me. I've tried that route in the past, and then after losing like three planners in a row, I was like, I got to do electronics.
Yeah, you gotta do what works best for you.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So, of course, we know each other from working at BDO, where we were supporting the Army together on audit remediation efforts. And I can see how you got from audit remediation and accounting with your job to doing financial therapy. But I'm curious about your business, Pretty Decor. What made you decide to do that?
So I've always had like, a little creativity in me over the years. In previous jobs, I was always one of two that helped decorate for our coworkers. If someone's having a baby, we'll throw an office party or a holiday party. And so I would help decorate that, try different things. At one point I was making like wreaths for family members. Like I just always like, try new things, teach myself something new. I've always like been a self-starter, get on YouTube. I'm like, okay, let me see if I can do this. And so started back decorating for events, and it's just fun. Like it's clearly the complete opposite of my day job. So I'm able to like, I want to say not think, but it's like more fun to think of different themes and to decorate and to meet new people through different events. So I decided, let me just take it from a hobby into a business. And it's been really great. I've seen it grow so much, not only like with my designs, you can like if I show you pictures from the very beginning, you can see a difference. So I've been able to kind of perfect my craft over the years, and it's been exciting and rewarding.
I love that. Yeah, it's different. It's a different part of your brain that's being stimulated when you're in the creative mode of doing
Mhm.
any kind of crafts or art or decorations versus working in spreadsheets like we've done.
Exactly. And it's like almost like relaxing. Like I'll now if I have an event that I prep for, I start, a couple of days before, depending on the size of the event. And I just sit there and put on Netflix or something or listen to music and just blow up my balloons. And it's just so relaxing to me.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's a way to just kind of go into autopilot, and then it almost feels like meditative because you get in this, like you're then able to free up your mind to think while you're doing something with your hands.
Right. Yeah. And it challenges me too, because I'll get, with doing baby showers and birthdays, some themes or color schemes are the same, but then some I have that are new and it's like, oh, it's fun. Let me try this. Like I have a baseball theme for first birthday coming up, rookie of the year. And so it's like, oh, like my brain just starts spinning wheels thinking of all these different things to incorporate. So it's fun.
So how does that work? Do they just tell you the theme and then you come up with the um, the display, or do they guide you, or how does that work?
Yeah, so sometimes I have people that kind of know what they're looking for. So on my inquiry form, when they submit, a date for their event, I ask if there's a theme, and then sometimes people just know like the dates or colors, and they kind of need help with options to choose from. Some people come ready with inspiration pictures. I always, welcome it so they can give me an idea of what they're looking for, and if I'm able to kind of provide something similar to that. And it also just goes based off of budget. Sometimes now in the business, I kind of know like which backdrops or setups, in various price ranges. So I'm able to give them options. I always like to give my clients options if they're kind of unsure so that they can help drive, what they're really looking for.
Yeah, it's always nice having options, and especially with you being so budget minded, I know your clients are in good hands because
Yeah.
you understand. I mean, you do understand the value of being able to stick with your budget, deliver on time. You're a certified project manager. So of course, you know how to go from nothing to completion. And I'm sure that serves you very well in all of your business endeavors.
Oh yeah, it does. And like I said, some people, I like to pride myself in servicing various ranges. Like special, I love celebrating other people. And I think that's like one of the other aspects of why I turned it into a business. Like I just love celebrating birthdays. I know we talked about this earlier. Like I love birthdays and baby showers. I'm always so excited. My friends or whoever is throwing an event. And so I like to kind of cater to all levels. Everybody deserves to be celebrated. So even if it's something, just a small something at a restaurant or in their home, I still want to give people that option because I think everybody deserves to be celebrated, like all occasions.
I love that. And I fully agree. Everyone deserves to be celebrated. Too often we get caught up in the day to day work that we do, and we don't stop and appreciate what we've accomplished and how far we've come. And even just, I get a little whimsical thinking about all the people that I lost and how it's so good to celebrate them while they're here.
Exactly.
So I love that. You're bringing joy to people's lives.
And then to see their reaction afterwards, or just to know, like, I was a part of their baby shower, graduation party, or, anything, no matter how small or big, it's exciting. Like you said, it's celebrating people, while they're here and they're able to create those memories, take pictures in front of the balloons and stuff, and have these lasting memories for years to come. And just the fact that they trust me, to do that is also rewarding.
Yeah, it's so needed. I love that. And of course, financial therapy is also needed, teaching people how to manage their finances. What all do you offer with that business?
So with financial therapy, I like to offer a coaching program because I tell my clients, like, you didn't get into the financial situation overnight. So of course, it's not like a one and done type thing. So I have a program where it ranges from 3 months to 9 months. So they have an option to choose 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months. We meet bi-weekly, have 1 hour one-on-one sessions to a similar platform like this. Initially, we go over like their full financial picture, what their debt looks like, what their financial goals are, any areas of weaknesses. And we kind of talk through that over the course of the program, but also teaching them how to budget because a lot of people don't like a lot of people don't know how to budget. They know, oh, I pay my bills, but what do I do with the rest of it? It's not a written or physical outline for their money every time they get paid. So we go and meet and work through creating a budget, getting into the habit of updating it because it's changing. You can't look at your budget once a month and expect everything to go well. You have to really keep an eye on your money. And so we meet bi-weekly. With the 6 months and 9 months, I like to have a little bit more accountability. So I'll check on them. I'm just that type of person. If you need me, text me if I need to talk you through a purchase, an impulse buy. I like to, be available to my clients in that aspect because you have moments like that. Like I had a client who wanted to buy a computer and I'm like, okay, do you need it now? We talked through the questions. Do you need it now? Is it in the budget? Can it wait? Things like that. So that is also rewarding because like, as you know, financial literacy is very important, especially in today's society. And so I've just found that sometimes it's a spending problem, sometimes it's an income problem, but most times it's a spending problem and dealing with comparison or not wanting to have delayed gratification. And just like we all work so hard, I just want everyone to save and see the fruits of their labor and just not be in bondage to the debt. So I offer that, and I do have a financial therapy budget planner that I had launched and created in December. So I do offer that as well for those that aren't, necessarily needing a program or are in the program. They can buy that in a digital or physical version.
Oh, very cool. So they can actually get your branded documents that they can use as templates to fill out at home to help them get on track. Oh, that's great.
So it's 12-month undated, so they can start at any point. It has like different trackers, your monthly expense tracker, debt, so that you can kind of watch it decrease over time. If you want to keep up with your credit score, a couple of no spend challenges in there, and then I like to budget by paycheck, like looking at it as an overall, but also a paycheck at a time. So I have designated worksheets for that as well.
Yeah, it's so important. I've done some coaching in the realm of budget myself because it's something I'm also passionate about. Who knew two accountants would care about budgeting, right? But like you said, it's amazing how many people don't know. They think of budget as something really complicated, and it's not. It's actually very simple. It's just keeping track of your money and planning on where it's going to go. Because if you don't tell your money where to go, it will disappear.
Yep.
So what are some of the things that we could offer, like tips when it comes to getting on the right track for, like, if you've never had a budget before, how can you get started?
So if you've never done a budget before, the first thing I would say is to know your numbers so that you'll know kind of like what your overall financial situation is so that you can then outline a budget from there. So looking at all of your monthly expenses, making a list of everything that you pay for, even if you have to go through recent bank statements to review those transactions. So writing down all of your bills, any recurring subscriptions. Those are some things that tend to fall through the cracks. People don't really think about, but it matters. I tell my clients, every dollar matters. So writing down all of your bills, your monthly expenses, if you have pets or kids or whatever you may need to budget for, you have to kind of think through those expenses on a monthly basis. From there, and also writing out your income. If you're salary, you know how much you're bringing in on a monthly basis. And if you're hourly, then I like to say kind of use what your baseline is, like your minimum that you need to bring in on a monthly basis. Mm-hmm. And so typically once you have all of your bills written out and you look at your income, from there you're kind of able to see if it's an income problem or if it's a spending problem. So from there, keep track of your paychecks. Like I do in my planner, I have a monthly calendar page. And so this part isn't filled out, but I like to go in and write out my pay dates in the calendar for the month, as well as my bill due dates. So if my mortgage is due on the 1st or my cell phone bill is due on the 10th, I write all of that on a calendar. And that way I'm able to see which bills I need to pay for out of each paycheck. And that, like, giving that in a visual perspective really tends to help people, because you honestly can't remember everything, how much a bill costs or the due date. But if you have it written down, you can kind of go back and refer to it from there. And so just looking at ways that you can cut expenses. Sometimes it's those subscriptions that, add up over time. I know everyone is like, cut cable, and now we have 15 subscriptions. So
I refuse. I've only got one. I pay for Hulu, and that's
yeah,
it.
and they increase every year. So it's like, are you really saving? So looking at subscriptions, one of the biggest areas, though, honestly, is just that variable spending, like your groceries, your spending money, if you're going out to eat or shopping. Those are areas that you can control. So looking into seeing what that looks like for you on a monthly basis. Not saying you can't have fun or you can't go out to eat, but if you're struggling to, meet your bills, then you need to kind of restructure and refocus your purpose and kind of cut back on some of those activities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really, really helpful. I give myself an allowance. I've done that for years, probably 15 years at this point. No matter where I'm working, I have two different bank accounts, and I have one account that I give myself an allowance that coincides with my paycheck. And that is for me to have fun. That I also include like my gas and my personal, like if I want to go out to eat, that money comes out of there too. But that's where I can, if I want to go to a concert, if I want to go out to eat, that's where that money comes from. And once it's done, it's done. So you can also save it. I have used that money. Maybe I didn't spend it all a few paychecks in a row, and then I squirreled some away so I can eventually buy something big, like a nice concert or a trip or something. So even within my fun money, I'm budgeting and using those same principles.
Yeah, I have that same structure. I have a primary checking account that I've had like since college. And so it used to be my only checking account until I was like, okay, let me separate my funds similar to what you just mentioned. So I have like my bill account per se, and then I have another bank account that I give myself a set amount every time I get paid. And, if I want to get my hair done, nails done, go out to eat, like you said, trips or concerts, like taking it out of that way it's not interfering, or you don't have to worry or stress if you have the money for your primary bills. And then I also have two savings accounts. I know it's probably simple.
You have what? Two?
I have two savings accounts. I have the savings account that came with my original checking account. Just if I need something quicker. That one's usually my travel money. And then I have my high yield savings account for my emergency fund.
I have three. I have two different banks that I use. Like my fund money is my credit union that I've had for ages. There's a savings account attached there. That's where I save my fund money if I don't spend it all. And then I have my bill account that I also have a savings account attached to it. And then I also have a high yield that I've only had for I'd say about 2 years when I opened up a high yield savings account.
Yeah, I don't know why I had never heard of it prior to, but I think I've had mine for almost 2 years now. When I started realizing, I was like, oh, my traditional savings account was earning a penny.
Pennies. Like they would literally send you a statement to tell you that you earned 1 cent. Like, what is no?
Yeah. So once that, put things into perspective, I'm like, oh no, let me shift it so that it can earn me some money. So like, I think it's ranged from like 4 to 5%. Now it's at 4%, because rates have kind of dropped, but it's been great to see. And it's like, out of sight, out of mind. It's a completely separate bank with a high yield savings account, and the money is sitting there anyway. So it's going to be with that interest rate.
If the money is going to sit there, put it to work for you. Yeah. I wish I would have thought of it sooner or knew about it sooner. And I don't know why I didn't, but I know now. And that's something I try to educate people on. If they do have money in savings, if they are able to put a nest egg together, find you a high yield savings account so you can earn a couple, 10, 20, 40, even $100, depending on how much you have in there every single month. And just leaving it reinvesting in there, of course, the time value of money, it will continue to grow over time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, these are all great tips. And for anyone struggling with their budget, definitely go to DeOnah. She knows what she's talking about. She's got the tools, the resources, and the patience to help you through it. Because I know it's a struggle on, for a lot of people, especially if they're not comfortable. I find so often it's the relationship that we have with money that kind of messes us up. And a lot of it might even come from our childhood or like growing up poor or just all these different things that we carry with us into adulthood.
Oh yeah, I've witnessed that. And that's like part of like the goal with financial therapy is because like not everyone is comfortable talking about finances, especially, the stranger or whomever. And so I want to create a safe space, accountability, but not, judging or bashing anyone for their past financial mistakes. We've all been there, done that. But like you said, talking through those habits, like in the same way people go to therapy to unlearn certain traumas or past experiences. That's kind of the reason why I created financial therapy, because it's like therapy for your money. And it's really about your mindset, because honestly, you can make six figures, but if you don't change your mindset and spending behaviors, it's not going to feel like six figures. So, really honing in on that. And I found too, a lot of people, it does stem from how they grew up, or it's like what they were taught younger. If you have it, spend it. And it's like, no, you don't have to spend everything you have. Like, you need to save for a rainy day. And, it's not a matter of if something is going to happen. It's a matter of when, whether you're a homeowner, a parent, fur mom, whatever, like even with pets, things
Yeah.
and it's expensive. So just having that nest egg to rely on and not necessarily spending it just because you have it, thinking about the future. I think that's one of the main things. This society is just focused on the now and traveling and buying things. It's like, okay, what about retirement, or what about 5 to 10 years from now? You want to be able to kind of think about now and the future.
Well, and you can even have those things and you can spoil yourself as long as you build it into your budget.
Exactly.
Every year me and Andrew take a vacation and a lot of times we go out of the country. But we plan that a year in advance and
Yeah.
we set aside money in our budget to cover those costs so that when we are there, and that includes money to spend while we're there. So that way when you're there, you're not stressed about money. You have your budget, you know what you're comfortable with, and you plan that ahead of time and look for deals on tickets and deals on Airbnbs and hotels and whatnot. Like you can have a really nice vacation within a budget and have a wonderful time and even buy souvenirs and go on really cool excursions and things while you're there.
Oh yeah, I love to travel. I have a trip planned now for my birthday in April, going to Jamaica.
Ooh.
It's like been in the works since last year, and like you said, the key word is planning. Like we all work hard, we all deserve to enjoy, life and the fruits of our labor. And so I love travel. It's just make sure you plan for it and budget for it. Don't put it on the firm and Klarna. So,
Yes. Right. Yeah.
definitely save for, like you said. I mean, it's doable. You can have a really nice vacation. When I'm on vacation, I don't want to stress.
Yeah.
I'll be at an all inclusive. So it's like, okay, it's one, set payment. I don't have to worry about food while I'm there because it's included in the resort. If anything, have spending money or something for excursions. But it's definitely planning is key.
Yeah. And even planning, it's all about planning, really, right? So planning for your big things. You want to buy a house, you want to get a new car. I'm looking to possibly get a new car sometime this year. And in order for me to do that, I have to really plan and I have to know what am I willing to spend? How much of a payment am I willing to have? Or do I want to try to come up with the money to buy something outright so that I don't have to have a high interest rate car note? And then also, knowing, well, what's that going to cost me with my insurance? How's that going to look? Is that because a lot of time that's going to make your insurance go up if you get a new car, and just being able to think about all of those different aspects that go into a purchase instead of going and buying something on a whim. I used to be a shopaholic. I don't know if I ever told you that.
No, I don't think so.
I grew up poor and I learned some bad shopping habits from my grandma. Rest in peace, grandma. I don't mean to talk trash, but she was always shopping. She shopped for feelings. She
Mhm.
always wanted to retail therapy, she called it.
Mhm.
And I learned it. I learned it young. And so I became a shopaholic when, as soon as I had money, I would spend it.
Yeah.
And I'm talking as a child and as an adult. And I didn't let that go until I read a book about uh, basically chasing chemicals, and you know how we all are chasing like oxytocin and serotonin and dopamine
Mhm.
with our behaviors. And it made me realize the reason why I went shopping is because I was looking for a hit of dopamine and serotonin because I was feeling sad or lonely, or I just felt like I need some kind of stimulation. So that's where I went.
Oh yeah.
And once I realized that, I was like, oh my God, I was able to let it go. I was able to see it for what it is. And then I was able to go, I don't need that. I can get serotonin in other means. And even if you go window shopping,
Is you always end up buying something.
no, but
Yeah.
no, even if you don't have to, depending
Yeah.
on your
If you have the
discipline,
restriction.
if you can be disciplined. But I find that even if you go window shopping or you go online and you look at things and put them into your cart, but you never buy, you still get that hit of dopamine.
I've learned that. I've learned that too. Yeah. I mean, I too, I think was a shopaholic. I would just, it's the weekend, the sun is out. Let me just go to some stores. Didn't
Yep.
have a list or something specific that I needed to buy. It's just like, oh, let me see what I can find or what's on sale. And it's really the sale signs that try to get you with. And actually, that's how I racked up my credit card debt was in college. I still can't tell you to this day what I probably spent it on, but it racked up to like over $10,000. Like, what do I even have to show for it? And so when that hit me, I'm like, okay, I have to get rid of this. And I, paid that off and never went back, obviously. But like you said, that boost that you want, you're feeling down, your emotional retail therapy, recognizing it and then knowing like what your triggers may be or look for our alternatives and going to buy something because you may get that dopamine hit in the store when you come home, but then it's like afterwards it's like, oh, it's the feeling is gone, it's temporary. So now you've like spent all this money and then now you're still feeling sad because you didn't get to the root of the cause. But yeah, I like to add things to my cart too. And that's like a rule of thumb. It's like, especially like a big purchase, I'll add it to my cart or especially seeing stuff on social media. It's like, oh, I might need this. Amazon is, really hard there.
Yes.
Yeah, so I have probably a million things in my Amazon cart. And like what you'll find is like if you're still thinking about it, then it's like something that you really want or need. But then it's like you add it to your cart and you forget about it. It's like, you didn't really need it or you really didn't want it that bad. And so you probably just spent it just to say you purchased something. And then it's just added to the collection of junk or something at your house.
I couldn't tell you how many pieces of clothing, even now, I have in my closet that I've never worn.
Especially in this, like since COVID, I don't wear half of the clothes in my closet.
Yeah, me neither. I need to do like a spring cleaning of all my closets and just get rid of things because I don't know. I don't like to throw things away. I want them to be used by someone. So I guess I just need to donate a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I did that recently, and I was surprised at how many T-shirts I had. Like, you just collect so many T-shirts with things on them or whatever, and it's like I
Mhm.
don't need this many T-shirts. So I went through, only picked out ones that like mattered or that like I really wore, and I just donated the rest. So I think that's part of overconsumption. Like we just have so many of
Yeah.
multiple items. Do we really
Well,
wear all of these clothes? I work from home. I don't really go anywhere. Do I really need all of this?
and then add in, if you have ADHD like me, you'll forget you have stuff because if it's out of sight, you completely forget its existence. So you might even find yourself buying the same thing again because you
Mm-hmm.
forgot you owned it. I've done that so many times.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's why it's good to analyze your behavior. Look at what you're doing so that you can then improve because it starts with awareness.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And in the beginning, once I do take on a client, we go through their bank statements, because sometimes it's like, oh, I think I spent this, but the bank statements won't lie. It'll show the transactions if you went to Chick-fil-A or Target, and it's like, oh, what did you spend $200 on Target? And then they're not able to tell me, and it's like, oh, did it really matter? So going through it, same way with you, the shopping addiction. It's like emotionally eating out. That's the thing too. I mean, I know working from home, DoorDash can really. I love DoorDash, but it's not, always best. It's not what's best for my budget. I've had moments where I've deleted the app and it's like, okay, DeOnah, just go cook something. If you get a meal prep instead of, ordering DoorDash, and it adds up with the fees, the tip, all of that.
It's been $30 for lunch just to get a sandwich and some fries. Yeah, yeah.
Convenient. So it's like, okay, let me trade that and actually cook something to save money.
And again, with the planning, I think a lot of reasons why I've done that in the past, I got into it really bad before I left BDO because I was just working so much and just so busy that I was ordering DoorDash like every day.
Yeah.
And it's because you get used to that instant gratification. And also when you're hungry, you don't want to have to cook. You don't want to have to think about it. So that's where the meal planning comes in. You got to know, like, I've gotten better now where I'm like, all right, maybe around lunchtime, I'll think, what do I want to have for dinner? I need to take something out.
Yeah. Same here. So I'll be in meetings and I'm like, okay, now I have a 12 o'clock meeting. When am I going to eat lunch? So then I automatically pull up DoorDash, run out, grab it, and eat it at my desk. And here I am out of $30 on a $10 meal, probably.
Yeah. I mean, I get it and I've done it, but you have to give some parameters. It's okay to order DoorDash, but know what you're getting into. And, I will limit myself. Now I will allow myself once a week. Mm-hmm. I will order something from DoorDash once a week. And I haven't this week yet. So I've still got that maybe for tomorrow. But otherwise, just plan ahead. You know what you like to eat. And I find for me, especially because some days I get a lot of meetings, just having like meat and cheese and like finger foods I can snack on that's like filling enough, that has nutrition, that goes a long way.
Yeah, that's what I did recently. I did have an Amazon purchase, but it was a good purchase. So it goes on my fridge and it has like the days of the week and I can like write out my meals since I did that for the week so that I'm not guessing like, oh, what am I going to eat for lunch or for dinner? I have it planned out. I have my snacks, like you said, ready to go and leaning in on that versus, relying on DoorDash or even meal prep, like cooking something that'll last me a day or two. That helps me.
Yeah. I try to cook for an army, even though it's just me and Andrew. So I have some extras. Yeah. Even if I freeze it, like I made a big pot of chili last night and that we'll eat that again today. And then I'll probably have a little bit left over. I can even freeze for if I need a quick meal in the future.
Exactly. Yeah. All about planning. Everything revolves around planning.
Yeah. I think that's probably the biggest advice I would give somebody is plan for what you want. You can get everything you want and you deserve it, but you just have to plan for it.
Exactly. And like you mentioned about, you possibly buying a car, that's the same for a home. Like I planned to purchase a home, did my research, made sure I had, the fees, because it's more than just buying the home. It's like a lot of people I don't think realize like the upfront costs or things that may come up throughout home ownership. So you really have to plan for that and have something to rely on because you don't have a maintenance person. If something breaks or goes wrong at your home, you are the maintenance person.
Yeah. We just had to do a roof repair at our house from one of the storms. This is the second time we've had to do a roof repair.
I remember because you told me, I think a year or two before of something else.
Well, so that might have been my other house. I have put on I have 4 houses and 2 of them we've had to put brand new roofs on. One of them is good to go. Hopefully, knock on wood, it stays that way. Our house, the one that we live in though, we've had to do 2 repairs now. And because we're trying to plan and budget we know we need to get a new roof at some point, but we're trying to not have to do that this year because the cost of it is so great that it's something that you really want to plan for if you can. And so we did another repair, even though it was recommended we get a new roof. just because we want to be able to save and do it right so that we don't have to go into debt over such a big expense. With my rental that we had to get a new roof on, we didn't have that luxury. It was like there was a storm, it was raining in the house. We didn't have the luxury of waiting around. We had to just get it taken care of. And so, sometimes that happens. And that's why having savings is so important, because it's like $10,000 or more to get a roof. Like, it is not a small expense.
Right. Yeah, definitely having that nest egg so that you aren't having to go into debt. And then now there's another bill, that you're having to pay for every month. And it's can be so frustrating. But yeah, this home that I'm in now is actually my second home. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I think I remember you had bought a home and then you ended up selling it and getting this one that was more for your liking.
Yeah. So my first home, I missed the mortgage payment, but my first home, I didn't have a lot of upfront costs, like, of course, earnest money and things like that. And I was there for probably almost 5 years. And it was around COVID when, homes were flying off the market. I'm like, oh, okay, let's see how much my house is worth. I could do a lot, if I were to sell it. But I wasn't ready to buy at that time because a lot of homes were overpriced and there were bidding wars and things like that. So I decided to sell. I had a nice check afterwards and was able to pay off my student loans and my car and save because I knew I wanted to buy again, just not right now. So I didn't really know what those costs may look like. But I had that money set aside. And when I bought this home, surprisingly, I didn't have much. I had my earnest money, typical, but since it was technically USDA, I didn't have a down payment. And so I was able to save that and put it towards this fence that I have that was quite expensive.
Yeah.
Fences were, expensive, but the cost of wood was also up at the same time. So just having that money there that I can use for that, it really helped. It really helped.
And again, with the planning, I mean, look, you had a plan, you executed it, and you were able to. That's the thing with houses; they're assets, they're investments that you can then use to build your wealth, pay down debt. That's why I got into real estate myself. Is for one, I saw my parents do it. My stepdad had some properties, but I just buy a house for cheap. I've been able to get some really good deals because I'm willing to do a lot of work, a lot of hard work. And then you just take the time, make the property better, turn it into something profitable. And now I have assets that I have 2 homes that I don't owe any money on.
That's great.
And I just,
to rely on is just a string of income for you. That's really great. Yeah.
And I have it if I need it, like something were to happen and I needed to sell a house, I could probably sell a house. It's going to take 45, 60 days. But I mean, that is something that's why real estate is so important when it comes to wealth building. And there's a time and a place to rent, and it's definitely useful. I rented for several years before I was ready to lay down roots. So you got to do it in the right time. But
yeah, especially in this market too, in Huntsville, areas growing, like that's really great. I always said I would get into it eventually. Like when I sold or was about to sell my first home, the realtor asked if I wanted to rent it out. And I was like, no, I don't think I want to be a landlord right now. And I wasn't, mentally ready for that. But I can see that for myself in the future if I was to move again and like rent this home out or get a rental property. I've always found that to be interesting.
It's a lot of work, but if you have good tenants, if you're good at screening people and you can get, people are human, people have issues, and, you might have things that come up, but having good tenants that care is so important because they'll take care of the property for you and you can work with them, even to improve the property. I have one tenant that he likes to do certain things like painting and fixing things up. And so I gave him a list. I was like, you want to do these things? I will be glad to take it off your rent when you get around to them. And he's just slowly like picking away at my list. And here and there, he'll tell me like, hey, I took care of this thing for you. I'm like, okay, we agreed upon an established rate. And, it works out for me because I don't have to do it. I don't have to pay to get it done. It's stuff that needs done.
And he didn't mind doing it either. He's
Yeah.
taking care of it like it's his own.
Yes. But it's a challenge to find good tenants. I mean, you do have to go through sometimes. I've had a few tenants that trashed the place, broke things, caused damage and whatnot. So it's you got to do your screening properly. That's very important.
Yeah.
But you don't go into it to get rich. Like let's make sure
Right.
that's
Yeah.
clear. It is. I do earn money from my rentals, but it's really more for the long-term investment for me than it is to like have income every month. Although I do get some income from
Mm-hmm.
them, but it's really more for later on down the road when I need to do something. Me and Andrew are going to build a compound one day. That's the plan. We're going to buy some land.
Yeah, but see, that's another example of thinking ahead, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've talked a lot about ways that you are helping humanity with your jobs and all of these things, you know, are in line with the raise your own bar idea, which is helping other people to excel and just live their life to their greatest extent possible. What about for you? How are you raising your own bar these days?
Well, I think I realized it until we had talked about it. I was like, oh, I guess I am, I have been raising my bar year after year. You don't really think about it when you're, on the go. But I think just continuing to learn, even, with my job at BDO, like I said, I got the PMP certification. I knew I never wanted to go back to school per se because I have my bachelor's in accounting and my master's in business administration. So I toyed the idea of getting, a certification to still make myself more marketable and competitive and just continue to learn. And I found that it's been very, helpful in my position that I am now and that I've grown, over the past few years, but just constantly learning, definitely having to learn with my businesses, like learning from scratch. No one taught me anything. It's just been like a lot of research or trial and error or YouTube videos. So just like constantly soaking in information or new ways of doing things. So, even attending some SDFM luncheons or luncheons at the University of Alabama in Huntsville, just to keep myself abreast of things that are going on, new ways of being a leader, for my full-time job, or like I said, just engaging and learning new ways of doing things to kind of continue to elevate myself.
Yeah. You ever do anything with PMI?
Not yet. That is still on my to-do list to attend some of those events.
I am tentatively slated to speak at their leadership summit. I think it's a leadership summit they're putting on in October
Mm-hmm.
at the local chapter. So if I do end up getting that locked down, I'll once I get more information, I'll share that on my LinkedIn and whatnot,
Yeah.
and maybe you can come and check that out. It would be a good way to get in. I love the PMI group. I'm starting to get more involved with them, and they're good people. They're very busy. Everybody's busy, so we do a lot of stuff virtually, which is fine. It works for me. But
Okay.
once in a while, we do stuff out and about too. They have like a breakfast thing, which is too early for me.
I know, me too. I get the emails. And it's like, I can't make it to breakfast.
No,
I barely make it to lunch, but no. So yeah, it's just a matter of like planning and putting it in my schedule, make sure I don't have any conflicts to go. But yeah, I get the email, so I definitely am aware. I just need to make more of a conscious effort to attend.
So you are a member of the local chapter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I thought about volunteering. They have a couple of open positions in their like volunteer board. But I don't know for sure yet. I did mention that I was open to it and somebody was going to get back to me. So I'll probably need to follow up with them and see what they need. I think they're starting a newsletter. So
okay.
I have experience with that. So I thought, well, maybe I could help with the newsletter. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that'd be good. Yeah, I definitely need to attend. I mean, I've been a member because I think I have to since I have the PMP certifications or whenever I signed up initially. So I've kind of just renewed it each year. But definitely on the to-do list to attend a meeting and kind of get connected there in the same way I did with SDFM.
I need to get back into more visiting the SDFM. I marked my calendar for the picnic, so I will
Okay.
plan to attend that this year.
We should have you as a speaker 1 month.
Yeah, it's been talked about, but I guess there's like a backlog of people that have signed up to speak from
Mm-hmm.
prior PDIs.
Okay.
Well, this has been really fun. I've enjoyed talking to you. Is there anything else that you want to share or any advice you want to give to someone who might be looking to start a side gig and turn it into a business like you have?
Yes, I would just encourage you to go for it. If you have someone that that can mentor you in that particular field or realm that you're looking for, highly encourage that. But if not, go for it. You're your biggest, cheerleader. There are tons of resources out there. You just have to kind of look forward and continue to learn and grow. Like I mentioned earlier, teaching yourself how to do things, set up domains. Like had no clue how to set up a domain for the email. So it's like once I did it the first time, I knew how to do it the second time. But just go for it. Don't let fear hold you back or other people's opinions, because not everyone, I think, understands when someone is an entrepreneur or they wear many hats like you and I do. Some people are just like, oh, you just have to stick to your 9 to 5 or you're doing too much. But most of the time that the extra things that we're doing are tied to our passions. So definitely stay true to yourself and go after it. And what's the worst? If you make a mistake, just learn from it and keep growing.
Yeah. And you can learn everything you need right on Google. Between YouTube and Google, you will figure
Exactly.
it out.
Exactly. Or take, a training course or something if you want to, but it's a lot of free resources. I'll say that. It's a lot of free
Yeah.
resources.
Yeah. And if you're worried about your budgeting, then you probably are thinking about saving your resources and getting as many things as you can accomplished without spending any money. So I've got at least 3 degrees from YouTube University, I swear.
Exactly. It's free degrees. You didn't have to go into, to
Yeah.
debt or anything like that. But it's also nothing wrong with like paying to invest in yourself.
Sure.
It's a certification that you're after or a class or something. Just take it and, put it to use and make that money back.
Yeah, because the bottom line is you have to invest in your future and you have to do that today, whether it's investing your dollars with a class or investing your time so that you can learn on your own or read or watch YouTube videos and work on things. And if you want to follow your passion and you have a day-to-day job that you maybe don't get a chance to be as creative, do like DeOnah did, do like I've done, start a side gig, start small, and who knows, maybe one day it'll grow into a business and you can quit your job like I was able to do after, I think I did mine for like 6 or 7 years before I was able to quit my job.
Yeah. And I've just seen you blossom ever since.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I've definitely had my doubts like, probably 8 months in, I started really down on myself and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is so overwhelming.
Huge leap of faith, but it worked out and you followed your passion. You stayed true to yourself, and until then, you wore multiple hats. And that's what I do. I have nights, especially if I'm prepping for an event. Maybe some late nights or on the weekends or something. And so just kind of prioritizing, but not to where it's you're burning yourself out or getting too overwhelmed. So balance is the key.
Yeah, balance is so important. That I've had to learn that, and it's taken a long time to really understand the importance of balance. And you deserve to rest. You have to make time for you to just veg out, catch up on sleep, self-care, things like that. These are not just buzzwords. These are very important things that you also should include and plan for in your schedule.
Yeah, I'm heavy on self-care. I know. So with pretty decor, like typically kind of towards the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, sometimes it gets a little slow. And so I was so busy last year that I was wasn't concerned that I didn't have as many events because I knew I needed to prioritize rest. So that was nice and refreshing. And it's like now getting back, into the swing of things are more, consistent on the weekends. But also, I don't know if you knew, I took off time from BDO in December. I took the whole month off.
Oh,
Oh, nice. I think ever since I've been working, I've taken off a week here or there, but to just have the ability to do that and still, have PTO afterwards, I just did whatever I wanted to do. I didn't have, any set plans. I didn't have a vacation planned or anything like that, but just to have that freedom, to do what I wanted to do during that
Whenever you
time off.
wanted.
It was great for my mental health.
Yeah, no, I love that. And BDO is such a great company to afford everyone the opportunity to, for one, accrue that much leave so that you don't have to take time off unpaid.
Mhm.
And the fact that they can plan the workload appropriately so that you can take off that much time and the project's not going to be negatively impacted. That's amazing.
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm like, now I have to do it every year.
Yes, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. And that's kind of where I'm at right now because I finished the UAH course, the last course, and I'm like, I have other things I could take on, but I don't want to start it yet because I want to give myself time to like, I've been working on just like organizing myself better and like getting my thoughts down and doing planning for the year so that I really can spend my time on the things that matter for me and growing my business and working on the things that I really care about instead of just like reacting all the time to whatever's happening.
Right. Yes. It's all about doing what you love and the things that bring you joy.
Well, this has been great, DeOnah. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Please tell people where they can find you if they want to hire you to decorate for their party or if they want to sign up for some coaching with you.
Yes. So for Pretty Decor, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and it'll be at Pretty Decor LLC. Or you can visit the website, www.prettydecor.org, if you want to look at some of my work or submit an inquiry for a future event. And then for all of the budgeting needs, I'm also on Facebook and Instagram as at the underscore financial underscore therapist on social media, or you can email me at info@financial-therapy.org.
Nice. Thank you so much. That's great. Hopefully we'll get some people interested in looking you up and getting more followers. I know how important it is to have followers on your social media and to really help get your name out there so you can grow your business.
Yes, exactly. And if they are interested in, budgeting at the moment, there's always the budget planner. It
Yes.
is very helpful. I love, getting messages of people using it and they find it so helpful because, as you know, like creating something is like your baby, you're nervous of like what other people may think if they'll
Yeah.
see it in the same way that you do. So it's been great getting some, testimonies. I had a friend and she was like, I write everything out and I've been able to stick to my budget and pay off 2 credit cards. So I was like,
Oh, I love that.
yay. Yeah. So basically knowing where your money is going is really the key. And so I'm glad that that budget planner has been a great resource to a lot of people.
And can they buy that directly from your website?
Yes.
Awesome.
Visit www.financial-therapy.org. I have the physical copy, and I also have a digital copy if you like to use it on your iPad, or if you want to print it at home, I have the option too.
Awesome. Well, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and telling the world how you have raised your own bar and how you help others do the same.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on this platform.
Absolutely.